A drone fell out of the sky and crashed into a New Jersey homeowner's backyard Thursday night, prompting the town's mayor to even drive to the scene to survey the site himself. The aircraft smashed down in a residential area of Pequannock Township in Morris County around 8:45 p.m. Thursday, according to police and dispatch audio. Officials determined the craft was a hobby or toy type of drone and not a large commercial or military-grade drone. The Pequannock Police Department told the Post, "It comes on the heels of New Jersey cops' warning of possible copycats. What we think is it started as some sort of Picatinny Arsenal-based surveillance drill or operation, but once it exploded online, this became a copycat situation," one Garden State Police chief theorized. The U.S. Army's Armament Research, Development and Engineering Center is located at the Piquatinny Arsenal and is one of the sites where several mystery drone sightings have been reported, which has prompted concern. As a highly secure facility that develops and tests new bombs, guns, ammunition, and warfare devices for all branches of the military, it is a target for espionage by foreign adversaries. When the Post arrived at the crash site Thursday night, the resident was putting his trash cans out and declined to comment. However, as paranoia grips the state, the report of one crashing into a homeowner's backyard had the mayor rushing to the scene. The mayor of Pequannock, Ryan Hurd, pulled up in a Ford Econoline work van to survey the crash scene for himself. Hurd told the Post, "It is definitely not one of the massive, car-sized drones that purportedly have been hovering overhead." He said he's absolutely concerned that nobody knows whose drones are flying over us and what they're flying over us for and where they're taking off and landing. "Drones are flying over our houses, which is our private property. My family is here," he added. The Morris County Prosecutor's Office is investigating the incident. Meanwhile, there was a second report of a downed drone that hit a power line in nearby Randolph Township less than an hour later. The report turned out to be unfounded, the Morris County Sheriff's Office confirmed. In a follow-up phone call Friday morning, Hurd urged residents not to chase after, shoot at, or attempt to catch any of the large drones. "We can't be putting up Class 1 and Class 2 drones trying to follow these drones. God forbid something happens and it crashes into the big drone, and the big drone crashes into a house and kills 6 people, that's going to be a problem," he said. Local officials have told the Post that many sightings farther afield could be either civilian copycats flying their own drones or people mistaking planes, helicopters, or satellites for UFOs. After receiving reports of drone activity last month near Morris County, New Jersey, the Federal Aviation Administration issued temporary bans on drone flights over a golf course in Bedme.